So ngayon naman po, we would like to welcome to our program, Facts First, pwede bang pakianong konti? Landscape para mas astig tayo. Ayan. Pa-landscape ng konti.
Ako ba?
Oh, ikaw. Labas muna kita. Ayan, para mas kita siya. Si Doc, actually doctor po siya, no? She is a psychiatrist. Siya po si Dr. Nuelle Duterte. Siya po ay pamangkin ni President Rodrigo Duterte. I know you don't like to be known forever as just the niece of President Rodrigo Duterte. Tsaka sa last conversation namin, sabi niya, ayaw nga niya magpatawag na doktor. Pero tinatawag kitang doktor kasi you're a psychiatrist. Okay, Noel, good
Yeah.
evening and welcome back to our program.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. Promptu.
Kasi nakita ko siya sa social media, pakalat-kalat sa isang mall. Rockwell ba yon?
Yep.
Okay, so you're in Manila. Kasi based si Nuelle Duterte sa New Zealand, no? So, what brings you back in town?
Anxiety. Anxiety and this irrepressible urge to do something more than what I was doing.
Wow, mabigat siyang word na. Irrepressible urge to do something. Ano ba yan?
I felt like social media is, all good and all that, but parang feeling ko I needed to be hindi naman siguro on the ground like everybody is, but at least get a sense of what's going on the ground.
Can you be more specific? Nakasuot ka ng pink eh. Ano ba, nandito ka ba para mangampanya for Leni Robredo?
Yes, pretty much. Tsaka gusto ko yung gusto I wanted to be able to do something tangible kasi sometimes social media feels so remote, like it's just words on a page, on a screen that you read, and I wanted to be closer. Like I wanted to go to the volunteer center. I wanted to do something there. I wanted to go to a rally, which I'm going to go tomorrow. I wanted to participate sana in the house toss, but I could never really find anything that would kind of align with um, kind of my schedule. I don't really have a schedule, but align with what I could do at what particular time.
So bumalik ka lang to actually show your support to your candidate. Eh, di ba? Napaka-inconvenient yan for you because you have a career sa New Zealand, di ba? You're
Yes,
practicing
but
psychiatrist there.
yes, it was a very sudden decision. Like I made the decision in the morning. Asked permission if I could do so. Will it affect the scheduling? They said it was okay. Kasi may room pa naman to wiggle with the scheduling. And then I booked my ticket later that evening.
Teka lang, may tanong sa'yo dito because psychiatrist ka. Medyo nagulat ako sa tanong. Parang kailangan yata ng clinical check-up nito, no? As a psychiatrist, how would you assess the mental state of our candidates? Marami pong kandidato yan, more than 18,000
Wait,
positions.
candidates, ang dami naman. For
Oh,
example,
for
kahit
president ba? Ano ba?
10 na yata. 10 yun eh. Mahirap.
10 for president.
Ang hirap naman i-assess yung mental state nilang lahat.
Oh. So ano to, parang spur of the moment decision? Kailan ka dumating sa Manila?
Sunday.
Sunday. And are you staying here until when?
Early next week.
Early next week. So far, how has the experience been? Yung pagbalik mo rito and then you've been campaigning ba? Nagsimula ka na?
Yeah, so I went to I looked at some murals because I wanted to really see for myself yung murals. I went to Katipunan Volunteer Center. I spent a couple of hours there earlier this week sorting flyers, comics, just doing like really tangible things that you could touch and you feel. I joined the BGC walk. That was a very hot day. Wasn't able to join the Makati walk today. Then I was in Rockwell this morning kasi I heard that there was going to be a flash mob. So wanted to
So,
see.
eto, Dr. Duterte, I'm curious sinong iboboto niyong vice president. Si Kiko ba o si Sara? Pinsan niya si Sara Duterte.
Well, definitely I've been campaigning for Kiko.
So Leni-KIKO. How do you feel about that? Yung iba, ang pinupush naman, Robredo, Sara.
Um, not, I don't feel very good about that combination.
Bakit? Bakit?
I don't think that's going to be a good combination. And I've heard the arguments, to kind of let it be. I haven't actually heard arguments about why it's a good combination. They don't really talk about it. The onion, they call it the rosa
Mm.
support. I haven't seen any like logical, let's see, kind of productive reason why they people should vote for both, except that they're both women. Besides that, that was it. Um, I've seen people say now, wag, just like leave them be as long as they support Vice President Lenny. That's fine. But I think it's a dangerous combination. I think we talked about it the last time.
Before,
Uh,
oo. May mga
yeah,
nakita kang dangers pag yung vice
yeah,
president yung cousin mo.
yes, I definitely see that because their policies are not aligned. And also, Mayor Sarah doesn't actually, and she has, come out with this previously years ago, doesn't think she's a valid vice president. She called her a fake VP. Um,
Mm.
so there's definitely something that's not going to go well if they both win.
Ito yung pinupush ng mga supporters nila, eh, 'no, para bang women, women, women. So, dapat babae yung presidente, babae yung, vice president. Do you get the sense that they're very, that they are sincere with this or baka naman ginagamit yung women card to actually
I,
justify something that is not necessarily justifiable?
yeah, I think in this case, baka ginagamit yung women card. I don't know because like I said, I haven't talked to anybody who's actually for Rosa. Um, I think that they're just kind of going with the bandwagon because the VP Lenny is quite popular, and it is quite strategic to pair Mayor Sara Duterte with her. Actually,
Ito,
Mhm.
hindi ko kilala 'tong nagtatanong, eh. Si Greg Montegrande, siya ang, isa sa mga pinakamagaling na mga photojournalists sa Pilipinas ngayon. Ayan. Si Greg Montegrande, photojournalist from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. May tanong siya. How will you describe your relationship with your cousins? Sino bang cousins? Yung mga anak ni President Rodrigo Duterte. Ayan, sige. Kumusta ba
um,
relationship mo sa kanila?
na rin to, like I don't know how many times. I haven't seen them in over 30 years.
30 years?
And does that answer the question? Yes,
so, so,
over.
pero over 30 years, pero wala kayong communication at all? Never saw each other in family reunions before? Walang ganon?
There's no such thing as a family reunion. Like I've already said, also, walang family reunion.
Ano kaya mangyayari? Let's say magkasalubong kayo ni Sarah, ni Baste, or
I don't think
ni Pulong.
I don't think they recognize me actually.
But you've been all over social media, no? May mga nakaka-recognize ba sa'yo dun sa face-to-face campaigning mo na, teka, ito yung pamangkin ni President Duterte.
Nope, nope. I was in Katipunan Volunteer Center. Nobody recognized me, which was great. So I could just, sit there and do what I needed to do.
Okay. Yung ganyan, medyo nabitin ka sa ano, no? Doon sa online campaigning. Kasi I saw that you're very active sa Facebook in particular, no?
Mhm.
Ano yung
Yeah.
pinagkakaiba? Anong pagkakaiba sa experience mo yung nakita mo na face-to-face yung mga tao dito sa Pilipinas at nangangampanya ka sa kanila?
It's different when you're working with the volunteers because there definitely is that feeling. It was really nice to kind of sit. They weren't strangers, like they were definitely strangers, but they weren't strangers because you were there doing something together for a common cause, and there was a feeling of camaraderie and community. So it was really nice. So it's different from just being on your own and being on social media and typing things, because you're doing it by yourself. This time
Pero
with others.
Pero siyempre iba yung, kasama mo yung mga fellow volunteers mo. Iba naman pagkausap mo na yung mga tao na gusto niyong ma-convince to support your candidate.
I
Kumusta naman
haven't
yung experience dun sa gano'n? Wala pa?
tried that yet kasi I haven't found yung group to go house to house with. I was just part of a walk. Um, I don't think that I would be very good at house to house kasi I'm not a very sociable person. And hindi ako machika, maboka. So I would really suck at it. I would have liked to try, but I just didn't get the opportunity. to
Hindi
do
mo
it.
ba hindi mo ba inisip na subukan yan sa Davao City?
Hindi ako magaling magbisaya. So diyan pa lang, ekis na. Hindi nila ako maiintindihan kasi sobrang broken ng Bisaya ko. Sasamahan ko yung Tagalog and English, tapos titingnan lang nila ako. Like, anong pinagsasabi mo dyan?
Ito, maganda yung tanong ni maganda yung tanong ni Kevin Yu eh. Sabi niya, since you experienced it yourself, how would you what would be your suggestion to families of different beliefs and bets? How should they deal with each other?
Depends naman. Kasi there are some people that are reasonable and would like to actually have discussions together, and that's fine. So yun, I would talk about it. If, like, for example, family members were open to discussions or open to having conversations na hindi naman kayo mag-aaway, or start to get start to get too sensitive and then mag-aaway lang kayo. Pagka talagang set na, wag na. Let it be.
Sa inyo ba?
Hindi
Okay.
ako
Can you
pilit.
hear me?
Yeah.
Hindi ka
Yeah.
namimilit?
Hindi
Ito,
ako
natanong ko na sa iyo natanong ko na sa ito before in our previous conversation, pero I suppose may konting update, no? I know your father is he had been asking you to go slow, no, on your criticism of your uncle, 'di ba, before?
before.
Medyo chill lang konti. Kamusta ngayon? Na you even went to the extent of flying to Manila from New Zealand to campaign for your candidate, and as a consequence, syempre, mababanata mo na naman yung tito mo. Kumusta naman yung father mo? Anong sabi niya?
No comment? As in, walang comment.
Alam niyang nandito ka, you're in town.
Yeah.
Magkikita ba kayo?
Not this trip. Hindi kasi ako pupuntang Davao eh.
Hindi. When was the last time that you were in Manila prior to this?
Wow. Ano lang ako before, daan-daan sa Manila. So, the last time I was actually in Manila was when I lived in Manila. That was 2003.
Ayun yung matagal talaga. Tapos the rest, pabiyahe-biyahe lang. Inga, what is so special, what is so urgent in these upcoming elections that really forced you to get off your ass in, sorry for using that term,
No, that
in New Zealand
got me off my ass.
and go to Manila?
Mm.
Talaga, hindi
Um,
hindi naman siya ginagawa ng madalas, 'di ba?
Hindi. Anxiety. Really, there's still that palpable fear. Especially this past week, earlier this week. Like, you could just feel everyone's anxiety online. Like, you absorb it pa rin eh, kahit na hindi mo sila kausap, directly. You feel the anxiety that you read about. And it's very important to me, sa akin. It might not be important to everybody, but it's very important to me that the Philippines finally gets public servants that really have the interests of the Filipinos as their top priority. I mean, all of them might have the interests of the Filipinos as part of their, list of priorities, but importante kasi top priority, hindi yung mamaya na kami muna. Kasi yun ang nakikita ko is always sila muna, tapos mamaya na yung mga tao. So gusto ko talagang tulungan as much as I can in whatever way I can na maging president, vice president, senators, congress people, yung mga taong who really want to serve the people. So it's takot ako, actually. I'm really scared that of a Marcos presidency. I'm scared of a Duterte vice presidency. I don't think
Bakit
that would
naman?
I don't
Bakit
think that
naman?
good at all. Like we talked about it before, economically, that will not be good. In terms of freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, we already know their records in terms of that. They're not inclined to change that. They've not talked about it at all in their sorties. At least I haven't heard. I've listened to some of their sorties. They don't talk about those things, and those are huge red flags to me. So that's scary.
Did you also consider other candidates? Kasi you decided to support Leni tsaka si Kiko, no? Pero meron pa ibang mga tumatakbo eh. Merong Isko, merong Manny Pacquiao, merong Ping Lacson, merong Montemayor, Faisal Mangundato, Calio de Guzman.
No.
Bakit si Leni yung nakita mo? Kung sabi mo, ayaw mo si Marcos, di ba? Pero bakit si Leni?
Um, in 2020, like I'd been following her, I guess, career as a vice president since about 2018 when she started to become a little bit more assertive in uh, speaking up about human rights and things like that. But it was in 2020 when the pandemic hit that she really made an impression by the swiftness of her response to the people's needs, um, and the resourcefulness that she displayed in addressing those needs. Like she was able to do things that the IATF was a bit slow on doing.
Okay. Yung sa ganyan naman, how do you feel pag sinasabi ng iba yung kandidato mo, Leni Lutang? Ito, first-hand experience. I was in Davao with colleagues, fellow journalists. We were doing a special report
Mm-hmm.
on the challengers of the
Mm-hmm.
Dutertes sa home city mo. I was speaking with a sales lady dun sa SM Davao. Tapos, conversation lang. Natanong ko, ikaw, sino iboboto mo? I was expecting naman sabihin niya, boboto namin dito si Bongbong. Tapos sa Mayor Duterte, Congressman Duterte.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos sabi niya, delikado pag si Lenin nanalo, lutang tayong lahat. I mean, yung ganyang pejorative talagang nag-stick to sa ibang mga tao, no? Although alam
Mm-hmm.
mo naman na that's part of a well-organized, well-funded propaganda. Pero ikaw,
Mm-hmm.
as a supporter, I mean, how would you counter that? Yung ganong napakasimpleng narrative na mukhang nag-stick sa ibang mga tao.
Tatanungin ko, bakit po lutang? Pwede niyo pong explain sa akin kung bakit sa tingin niyo lutang siya.
Kung sabihin sa'yo, basta, respect my opinion, lutang siya.
Kasi nung pwede ko i-explain ko, kung nakikinig naman ako sa kanya, lalo na sa debates, hindi naman siya lutang. Ano pa ako, very mabusisi pagka nagsasalita ang tao, tsaka nag-explain, kailangan maintindihan ko. Hindi naman lutang yung mga pinagsasabi niya, hindi naman lutang yung content ng mga discussions niya. Hindi naman siya utal-utal, may sense naman, tsaka very concrete yung mga plano niya. Saan yung utal? Saan yung lutang dun? Hindi nga ako magaling mag-house to house, kaya.
Baka makapag-away ka. Ganun ba? O tahimik na lang. Sige. Ito. Lately, no, siguro na-monitor mo rin ito online, no, yung may mga children of politicians or candidates. Talagang ano sila, no? Yung dati, yung anak ni General Fabian Ver, no? Talagang
Mm,
nagsalita.
mm,
Somehow correcting the mistakes, trying to correct the mistakes of the father. Tapos yung anak ni former Senator Loren Legarda wrote a very scathing piece about the mom, no? Ikaw mismo relative na. Although hindi yung situation medyo different yung situation mo kasi hindi mo naman ama o ina yung involved, no? Uncle mo that you're
mm,
not even close to. Pero
mm,
ikaw, anong perspective mo sa ganyan? Kung kunwari sa mga anak na yung mga nanay nila siguro o yung tatay nila, talagang yung politika hindi nila masikmura, 'di ba? Yung
mm,
alignments na pinapasok because of the siguro political convenience, 'di ba?
mhm.
Would it be proper for them to really speak out and disavow such parents because of their political choices?
I think I just posted something about this like a few minutes ago. Um, I definitely would speak up. I would encourage speaking up. Disavowing, depende na yan sa'yo. I mean, relationships with parents are very tricky things. Some people have good relationships with their parents, and some people don't really have a good relationship with their parents to begin with. So it'll depend. My personal stance would be not to disavow, but to um, you know, keep the relationship. I don't really believe in, takwil-takwil. I don't believe in breaking like friendships and things like that. Pero, as I've been saying recently, relationships will change, and those kinds of beliefs, those kinds of opinions, those kinds of views are going to change how people interact, no matter who you are, with your parents ba, with your best friends, with your partners, with your children. Mag-change talaga the way you interact with them. It will affect things moving forward. Ganun lang. So it's a fact of life. The relationship will evolve or devolve. And depende na lang if it will survive later on. But yung Disavow Takwil, parang it's too, it's not naman harsh, but it's just too, parang period na agad eh. Kasi pwede pa naman, baka pwede mag-change your mind someday, later on, or, either one could change their mind. So, but
Okay.
speaking up, definitely.
Okay. Ito, may tanong ulit si Greg. Mukhang ginanahan si Greg, no? Daw ako nabasa mo yung book. Ito, may magandang biography. Yung kay Earl Pareño, Beyond the Will and Power. So, if you're familiar with that book na nilabas about your uncle, ang tanong niya, was it a true depiction of the president?
I didn't read the whole thing. I read the beginning part, and then skipped to somewhere in the middle and then towards the end. I don't know because like I said, I don't really know. I wasn't exposed to him. So over 30 years now that I haven't seen him face to face. I don't know. Didn't have firsthand experience of what he was like. So I can't say if it was an accurate depiction or not.
Okay. Sige. Alam ko, binulabog lang kita at the very last minute because I saw your photo online, no? Any final words? Anything that you want to tell? Not just supporters, siguro yung mga Filipino voters days before they go out and vote.
I would tell to the Filipino voters, please think of your children, if you have children, your future children, if you don't have them yet, the next generations. It's okay to think for yourself, to think of yourself right now, but your decisions today will always affect tomorrow. So, unavoidable yun. So, think about that.
Okay, maraming salamat Nuelle Duterte for joining us tonight. Pasensya ka na at binulabog kita to be part of this episode tonight. And yeah, I hope yung mga realizations naging useful din, okay? Alam naman natin kung sino yung sinusuportahan ni Nuelle Duterte. And of course, she argued her case, di ba? Yun naman ang importante sa isang demokrasya. Kung ito yung choice mo, edi panindigan mo, dapat based on facts, reason, di ba? Tapos kanina nga sabi ni Bishop Sokbel Villegas, based on conscience, a well-formed one. Maraming salamat, Doctor Nuelle Duterte for joining us again. And ingat kayo dito. And I hope you enjoy Manila. Lalo yung init. Sobrang init dito ngayon, di ba?
Sobrang init.
Okay, sobrang init. Maraming salamat, Dr. Nuelle Duterte.
Thank you.